HOA told me to respect their space, so I built a 20-foot privacy wall between us. Have you ever found yourself caught in a ridiculous power struggle where a neighbor's petty demands escalate into an all-out war over your own property? For David, it began with a pleasant morning coffee and ended in a standoff with a woman who believed her opinion was divine law. David, a quiet architect, had always prided himself on his well-maintained home and garden. His backyard was his sanctuary, a meticulously crafted space with a koi pond, a small zen garden, and a flourishing vegetable patch. He enjoyed his morning coffee on his patio, savoring the tranquility. Then came the new neighbors, the Changs, and with them, the arrival of Veronica Sterling, the self-proclaimed arbiter of taste and president of the Magnolia Estates Homeowners Association. Veronica appeared on David's doorstep one crisp autumn morning, uninvited, her perfectly manicured hand holding a clipboard. Her eyes, narrowed and critical, swept over his peaceful garden. "Mr. Davies," she began, her voice a clipped, high-pitched tone that grated on his nerves, "we've received concerns regarding the visual impact of your backyard, specifically your rather unconventional shrubbery and your activity on the patio." David, still in his pajamas, blinked at her. "My activity? I'm drinking coffee, Veronica." She sniffed disdainfully. "It creates a visual disturbance for the Changs. They feel their privacy is being infringed upon." The main conflict was immediate and absurd. Veronica, on behalf of her new, supposedly sensitive neighbors, demanded that David alter his private backyard and cease his routine activities because it somehow infringed on their privacy. Her audacity was astounding. She exuded an air of absolute authority, as if her personal comfort dictated the lives of everyone around her. David tried to explain. "Veronica, my garden is fully compliant with all HOA guidelines, and my patio is part of my property. I'm not doing anything disruptive." He even offered to install a taller fence, though he shouldn't have had to. But Veronica merely straightened her shoulders, her chin tilted upward. "Mr. Davies, this is about respecting their space. The Changs are very private people. Your presence is simply too present. We demand you prune your plants to below fence line height and limit your outdoor activities till after dark. Or, better yet, just stay indoors." Her condescension was palpable, a thinly veiled insult wrapped in the guise of neighborhood harmony. The next few weeks were a nightmare of escalating harassment. David received official-looking HOA notices for unapproved plant height and excessive outdoor lighting, his subtle patio lights. His attempts to compromise offering to build a beautiful trellis with climbing vines for added privacy were met with outright scorn. "That would just draw more attention, Mr. Davies," Veronica declared, her voice laced with triumph. "No, the board has decided. You must respect their space by making your garden invisible and your activities silent." One afternoon, Michael, a friendly retired contractor who lived across the street and had often admired David's garden, called him in a panic. "David, someone's in your backyard, and they've got pruning shears." David rushed home. What he saw made his blood run cold. Two landscapers, directed by a smirking Veronica, were savagely hacking at his prize-winning, mature Japanese maple, a tree he'd nurtured for years. Its elegant branches, once a source of shade and beauty, were being butchered into a grotesque stump. Veronica's voice, carried on the breeze, was triumphant. "Just getting rid of that visual intrusion, Mr. Davies." HOA's orders. Her malicious glee was evident. This wasn't just pruning. It was an act of deliberate, irreversible destruction. But the immediate damage to his beloved tree wasn't the only consequence. That Japanese maple was the centerpiece of a local gardening tour David was hosting the following month, an event that raised significant funds for the community's botanical scholarship program. The tour, publicized months in advance, was a huge point of pride for David and a crucial fundraiser. Veronica's act of petty vandalism had not only destroyed his cherished plant, but it jeopardized a charitable event that supported aspiring young botanists. The outrage burned through him, transforming his sadness into a cold, hard resolve. This wasn't just about his garden, it was about public good. David, armed with photos of his butchered tree and a fury he hadn't known he possessed, confronted Veronica at the next HOA meeting. "Veronica," he stated, his voice shaking with restrained anger, You want to talk about respecting space? Let's talk about respecting my property and the thousands of dollars you just cost a vital community scholarship program. He projected images of his once beautiful tree, then the hacked stump. Veronica, initially stunned, quickly recovered, her face twisting into a sneer. Mr. Davies, you are exaggerating. That tree was oversized, a fire hazard. And as for your little garden tour, that's your problem, not the HOA's. She then turned to the room, rallying her small clique of supporters. He's just trying to cause trouble. We need to maintain standards. Her theatrical performance was designed to deflect, to shame him into silence. Just as Veronica's self-righteous indignation reached its peak, a distinguished-looking woman in a sharp business suit, followed by a local news reporter, entered the room. It was Dr. Eris Thorne, the head of the city's botanical gardens and the patron of the very scholarship program Veronica had just jeopardized. Dr. Thorne, a woman whose quiet authority commanded respect, walked directly to the podium. "Excuse me," she said, her voice clear and resonant. "I believe this concerns the annual Green Thumb Scholarship fundraiser." Veronica stammered, her face paling. "Dr. Thorne, we weren't aware you were attending." Dr. Thorne ignored her, turning to the audience. Mr. Davies's garden was to be the highlight of our tour this year. His Japanese maple was not merely a tree. It was a rare specimen, meticulously cared for, and certified as a heritage plant. Its destruction, ostensibly under HOA orders, is a grave concern. She then held up a thick file. Furthermore, a preliminary audit of the HOA's recent expenditures reveals a series of unapproved landscaping contracts and unexplained fees, all signed off by Ms. Sterling. These include charges for enhanced privacy measures on properties adjacent to those with visual nuisances. A nervous murmur rippled through the room. It became clear that Veronica wasn't just arbitrarily targeting David. She was likely using HOA funds to harass other residents as well, funneling money to contractors she favored, all under the guise of enforcing standards. Beatrice's previous composure completely vanished. Her eyes darted wildly, her lips trembling. This is a misunderstanding. I acted in good faith." She tried to escape, but the reporter, sensing the dramatic shift, moved closer, microphone extended. Dr. Thorne then revealed the underlying motive, gleaned from her own extensive network in the local horticultural community. "It also appears, Ms. Sterling, that your keen interest in aesthetic integrity has a rather personal component. We understand your application to join the prestigious Garden Club of the Elite was recently rejected, primarily due to your own garden lacking any unique specimens, unlike Mr. Davies's award-winning plants. You also sought to purchase a similar heritage Japanese maple, but were denied due to its rarity and Mr. Davies's prior claim. It seems your actions were less about HOA standards and more about envy and a desire to eliminate perceived competition." Veronica's carefully constructed facade of authority and selflessness crumbled, revealing a petty, jealous woman driven by personal ambition and resentment. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Veronica was stripped of her HOA presidency on the spot. The city attorney's office, alerted by Dr. Thorne, launched a full investigation into the HOA's finances and Veronica's abuse of power. The news story went viral, turning Veronica into a symbol of petty tyranny. Her few allies on the board quickly distanced themselves, some even coming forward to expose her past abuses. The Magnolia Estates Homeowners Association, now under intense scrutiny, began a painful process of internal reform. Veronica faced severe legal charges for property destruction, misuse of HOA funds, and potential fraud. Her social standing, her self-proclaimed status as a pillar of the community, was utterly destroyed. Her elite garden club aspirations were a cruel joke. She lost her position, her reputation, and her credibility. The karma, poetic and brutal, ensured she lost everything she valued most, all for the sake of her irrational need for control and her crippling envy. David watched Veronica being escorted out, a grim satisfaction settling in. His beloved Japanese maple was gone, but the botanical scholarship would be fully funded thanks to Dr. Thorne's quick intervention and the widespread sympathy for his plight. The fight had been costly, emotionally and financially, but he had stood up for himself, for his property, and for the greater good. He had exposed a toxic force and brought down a tyrant. As for his garden, he knew it would heal and thrive once more. And he also knew, with a quiet resolve, that he would build that 20-foot privacy wall, just as Veronica had initially demanded, but this time, it would be a symbol of his reclaimed peace, a barrier against her kind of arbitrary control. This whole ordeal leaves you wondering, doesn't it? When does the pursuit of perfect community standards become an oppressive force? And what are the ethical lines people cross when their personal insecurities manifest as control over others' lives and property?